So, Chris Chibnall, huh?
Yeah. What a guy.
What a special man. And what does a special man do? But write some specials. That's the best I had, all right? We're running low.
There's a lot of specials, isn't there? We have a lot of specials. I mean, can we just make these specials a series? It's basically a series, isn't it? Because I think, have we got 10 episodes here?
Essentially.
We've got like
yeah.
11 episodes. Let's just call it a series, but they're all just aired 4 months apart from each other. That's basically what we've had for the past 2 years.
Lovely. Welcome back to the Jodie 2.0 or Chibnall overhaul or whatever it is I ended up calling this. You're a trooper sticking in all this time.
Yeah.
God damn.
This has gone long. I like it.
I'm talking to you specifically, Josh.
Oh, me?
not the people at home.
No,
I'm impressed by your resilience.
I've put a lot of time and effort into this, which just involved me watching and reading Doctor Who and then coming on a call to talk about it. So really, I haven't put that much time in, but I am enjoying it all the same because it's nice to take a little trip to a little parallel world and see, maybe this is what Chibnall did instead.
We've been sort of combining two video ideas into one here. I've been offering a remixed reading list, but we've also been like making changes to the episodes as we go along because it makes a more fun video. So you could, in theory, watch this in the given order, but you'd have to fill in the bits in between with like what we're saying.
You got to do a lot of mental gymnastics, especially in episodes where it's like, okay, this companion is not here, and these companions are, or the master is now gone.
Go with us.
I mean, I feel like if you're going to do this with any fandom, the Doctor Who fandom is the best because we're best at filling in the blanks.
But we're also very anal about chronology and the way that things are.
I mean,
I don't know how these videos are going to go down, Josh. I really don't.
I don't either. I mean, I also worry that, I'm coming across as a man who is just obsessed with linking stories to other stories.
You're doing the work.
I'm trying, but also some of my ideas are terrible. The part where we were talking about Rosa and I needed to find a canon reason for why the Doctor's coat ripped. That's terrible.
That was a low point. Yeah, that was a low point for sure.
That was me being my most Doctor Who fan I've ever been.
Me being the most Doctor Who fan I've ever been was finding a way to remove Sacha Dhawan's recurring villain from the series and then find a way to turn him into a solid tract creation.
Only for me to reject that entirely.
I reject it. So let's put our best foot forward for this video whilst we finish off Jodie Whittaker once and for all. And by finish off, I do mean bury her.
This is definitely going to be the most chaotic of the 3 videos, I am certain.
Fun fact, we are in deep COVID season now.
You want to make this happen as if COVID still happened. Sam, you're creating your own world here. You're creating an alternate universe. And you are so dead set on the fact all of those people still have to die.
Jesus Christ. Even in my dreams, there was a horrific pandemic and we are still escaping the ramifications for the inaction. The world did end. It did. Cheery, okay. Doctor Who specials. It doesn't matter whether COVID has happened or not. But regardless, Jodie Whittaker's final tenure as the Doctor becomes a series of specials. We don't need interlinking season arcs, even though we didn't do much of that to begin with. But before we get to the awkward flux in the room, let's talk about Revolution of the Daleks.
Yes, I have quite a lot to say about this.
It's still here. COVID-19 has happened, right? And then that New Year's, John Barrowman's on the TV. So it's like a 1-2 hit punch combo.
I like it a lot. Jack does not need to be here. I'll leave that with you.
You're right. I know you're right.
I feel like Jack is here to say that Captain Jack is back. And there the reasons end.
Captain Jack, he's back, baby.
Let's not get into the whole Barrowman thing now. Everybody knows the whole Barrowman thing.
No, it was 2020. It was not a cancelable time in
No.
his career at this stage. He could still questionably be on TV and the BBC wouldn't stop him.
But I just don't think he needs to be here. He doesn't offer really anything to the story. I don't think he makes the story actively worse, but he doesn't make it better. So I don't think he needs to be here. And there are other things that you could put in his place that would make it better. And also, in this parallel timeline, if you've watched the second video, put At Childhood's End in, and I think that covers all of the Yaz former companion stuff well enough to not need it here. He's not been on Doctor Who for like 10 years at this point. And you want to explain to younger audiences who Captain Jack is. Don't tell us that he's immortal. Kill him.
I've got to fight my corner a bit. I think he brings a different dynamic to Yaz's companion woes. I think he's a fantastic parallel for Yaz as the unrequited love forever. Captain Jack is Doctor Who's tragic figure who will keep waiting the rest of his life. We know he does. We've seen the face of Bo. His final words are a roundabout way of saying, "I love you, Doctor." It's my bias for the character, totally. But I also think it's neat that Chibnall is using his character.
He developed him, really. Yeah.
Jack, as we know him now, is totally Chibnall's baby, and I think he has the right to use him and bring him back and try and keep him as a big part of the show. If John Barrowman has other plans, of course, then that's unfortunate. But hypothetically, in this moment, I think Yaz needs that romantic chat with Jack about their mutual interest.
Can I throw something out there?
Yeah.
Tegan. Put Tegan in instead.
Okay.
Yeah. Why not?
In Revolution of the Daleks. Oh, her last adventure was Resurrection.
Exactly. You're the one who suggested. I mean, you're the one who said, obviously,
I'm very insistent about Tegan having a thing for the Doctor. And even if you don't think that's true, we can make it retroactively true.
Well, if you wanted to do that, you could do that here. And I'd prefer it. I feel like Tegan would have more to do.
It seems like people would prefer this. I might have to listen to the crowd on this one. It also gets me out of the hot water that is preserving John Barrowman's final TV role.
Let's do some audience interaction. Let's do throw it down in the comments.
Whoa.
Who would you put in Revolution of the Daleks?
I'm taking calls right now.
My phone is ringing off the hook immediately.
Hello, Ben, vacuum of comments. What? You want to do what to John Barrowman? Ben, for shame.
I've just had a text, and all it says is Turlo.
It's hard to think of living companions who you could say had a romantic interest to the Doctor that work for this parallel.
Turlo is one of them.
God. Jamie's one of them, but no.
I like Tegan. Tegan could work.
Tegan's the best shot we've got, and the only other one I would have suggested, sadly, is Sarah. But not only has it been done, but Miss Sladen's no longer with us. It has to be Tegan. Otherwise, you're insinuating that Ace had feelings for McCoy, which is awful. I don't know where Tegan naturally comes into the story. Like, sure, we don't need the Doctor in space prison. Tegan's not going to pop up and be like, "Right, Mesh, you got yourself in here, Doctor."
All right, because now I want to know how Tegan got herself in space prison. You could keep the prison stuff and use it as an end of series cliffhanger. The only thing it adds is just giving the companions that time at home,
which they can do anyway.
They can do that anyway.
They can just live at home in between seasons. There's no problem.
My only fun idea was just I think the prison break doesn't really work, and I think it would be way more fun if she recruits all of the creatures that are in there to help her get out and uses like
I see this one sometimes. It's the best version of what Chibnall gave us. I'm tempted to cut it entirely just because
let's do that then.
Thematically, Revolution of the Daleks should be meaty, and I want to use all that screen time on Daleks in border control.
And Graham and Ryan. Give Graham and Ryan a bit more.
God Damn, yeah. Ryan has that really nice, like 6 hours to Tokyo scene with the Doctor where they talk about his beanie.
Yeah.
I love that. I want more of the episode to be that.
Yeah, I like that.
Let's have an argument between Ryan and Yaz. I know I'm kind of over pushing this, but I want to make it clear they do get along. They are close friends. They still have those conversations in the TARDIS together as friends.
Yeah.
But I think this is the biggest falling out they have. And then that way it's sadder at the end when Ryan leaves.
That whole ending leaving scene is actually one of my favourite companion exits. I really like it.
It's top, isn't it? It's even better if you believe that they're off to like go make their world a bit better rather than like have sci-fi Sarah Jane Adventures capers, because that sucks.
Yeah. And Ryan's like, oh, I want to make a change. I want to do this. And then Graham puts an arm around him and goes, you're doing it, mate. I like that. So then we still keep the little meme.
We couldn't do it without you, Josh. So, as previously stated, in this version, it's more explicit that Ryan wants to leave because he's unsatisfied with, like, am I making lasting change traveling in the TARDIS? Traveling with the Doctor would radicalize you. It just would, especially if you're a super impressionable, good-hearted kid that Ryan is. I think he would put his money where his mouth is. Around the time of Revolution of the Daleks release, it'd been a big old year. COVID-19 had happened, which has had the biggest political fumbling, probably of our lifetimes, right?
Yeah.
The most barefaced one. Black Lives Matter was happening, what had been the big topic of that year. Climate change is a constant terror. Ryan's got a lot of battles at home, and a lot of them tie into adventures he's had in the TARDIS. It's why he has to go.
Yeah, and that's why I think Jack Robertson is actually a very important character to include. It's just because politics changed so much so quickly that by the time he got this into production, like it's just like a lifetime happened. So I do feel quite bad for him that he was like a year late on the whole Theresa May thing just because of the production of TV.
What I don't feel bad about is having such a striking image as Dalek drone police force on the streets.
Oh yeah,
especially after this turbulent year, you have and Black Lives Matter didn't start in 2020. You know,
yeah.
I think you have a bigger responsibility there, Chris, and use all that screen time of the prison, of the companions fucking up, trying to be the Doctor for a bit. You've got to put it all into the satire.
That little shot of the Daleks on the news stood in front of Downing Street. Oh, that is chef's kiss TV.
It's so Russell. It's so Russell.
It's very Russell.
I love Daleks wiping out other Daleks for arbitrary genetic reasons. They will never fucking be happy, which is a good point to make.
I love the new Dalek design in that.
I don't, but I think it's fine if they're purposely meant to be a bit shit and different. It doesn't matter. This doesn't matter.
I don't think they work as a long-term design, but as a one-off, I like them.
I'm with you there.
I think all of the Dalek specials in the Chibnall era are very good.
I'm glad we did Resolution now, and I'm glad we introduced Robertson.
Yes, thank you. See?
Without doing arachnids, which is an added plus.
I told you Resolution needed to be in. I was right.
You're right. Doctor Who will assassinate President Trump.
That's why I like the Daleks in front of Downing Street. You've gone so far the other way. It's just ludicrous and it's beautiful.
Remember, the moral of last series was that Doctor Who cannot solve the political problems of the world. It's a good starting point, but it cannot save us, obviously. Which is something the fandom needs to hear sometimes, as well as the general public. Well, we spent 20 minutes on Revolution.
Yeah, let's move on. Tegan. Let's make it Tegan. I like
Let's
Tegan.
make it Clara.
No, stop it, Tegan.
Okay. New Year's is over. The TARDIS team is now just down to the Doctor and Jazz. And next time we pick up with them, they're going to be in deep, deep space. Neither of them is the main character of our next round of specials.
Listen carefully, we don't have much time. The flux is coming.
So I posted this to Twitter before. I've played around with this idea with friends. There's so much to remodel. You nearly have to start from scratch again with Flux, because I think, as fun as it can be, in its bones, it never had direction. It never had cohesiveness. It's the result of a couple circumstances, and unfortunate circumstances like that. Here's what I'm going to do with what we've got. It's a remix. Flux opens following the sole story of Vinder. He is our main character for the next 5 episodes. From his perspective, we've got a big space opera, a big space epic. We rarely have to step foot on Earth. We follow this abandoned, semi-exiled pilot on the edge of the universe. He's the first to notice the oncoming flux. So from his perspective, it's a story about joining this mad lady who claims she can stop the cosmic apocalypse, only to learn that she's the one to blame. Boom, there's your pitch.
Ooh, okay.
More revisionist fan desperation at 12. This is the closest to an original script we're getting,
Okay.
which some people may want to skip ahead. That's fine. I'm cutting a few elements. And when I say a few, I mean the Mad Mole, I mean Dan, I mean Swarm and Azure, units.
That's everything.
It might seem that way, but it's because everything you've got left is enough to fill a half season of episodes already. This is now a big Tecteun story.
Oh, what?
Everything you get in Survivors of the Flux and the Vanquishers.
This is the one thing that if I was going into this, I was like, well, there's one thing that Sam is definitely going to cut, and it's the Tecteun stuff is going to be first out of the door, because it obviously makes no sense to keep all the Tecteun stuff when you've not done
It's back!
the Timeless Child, you've not set up Division, you've not done the Fugitive Doctor, you've done absolutely nothing. Why would you keep Tecteun? But of course, what I should have been thinking is this is Sam. So obviously, the one thing that is going to stay is Tecteun.
I think it fucking works, Josh. Josh, I think it works.
Right, pitch it to me.
I'm taking what I like out of the Timeless Children story, and I'm getting rid of the Gallifrey lore epic side of it. I'm going to make it more incidental knowledge and keep it as a mystery, a series-long mystery. We will naturally be dispensing this information throughout Flux.
Division is simple and indescribable.
From outside the universe, Tecteun has detonated a Flux apocalypse just to kill the Doctor. There's no point taking out those good fundamentals. So it begins as a normal story, even though we're experiencing it from a Love and Monsters style second perspective looking in. And it's Vinder who ends up getting carried away in this big Lupari adventure with the Doctor and Yaz. If you need to follow the Carvanista beat, fuck it, make it Yaz's Lupari. There's no loss there.
We solved this in The Good Doctor. In part 1, in series 11, the Loba in The Good Doctor were going to be the Lupari. So instead of having the species bond stuff, the reason that they want to help humanity is just because of the influence that the Good Doctor has had on them. So then you bring back the Doctor's legacy.
At the end of episode 1, Vinder oversees the Doctor meeting with somebody. And this person will be the mysterious Tecteun, a lady we know nothing about. But the Doctor does. The Doctor is familiar with who Tecteun is and is being very cagey all of a sudden. It turns out that this was that one big secret the Doctor has been keeping the entire show. She's been very focused on her status and how she appears to the rest of the universe. It was the ending of Series 12. This is the thing that would really ruin it all. Deepen our origin. And we don't have to go too deep into the specifics of the Timeless Children. She was adopted from a mysterious portal by a lady who conducted awful experiments on her. Is Tecteun a Time Lord? Yeah. I'm indifferent. It doesn't have to be. I think it... Why not? You know? It doesn't matter, though. That's not the important part. It's not about Gallifrey. It's about the Doctor and her foster mother. And I want to do what Chibnall never did and realise it fully as an abuse story. There's a reason the Doctor doesn't want to talk about her actual upbringing. And now it's her fault that she's being targeted and the whole universe is being held ransom to do so.
How have you done this? You've made it work.
It's a pitch, it's a premise, a starting premise.
Okay.
We can keep in some of the bones. We can do Village of the Angels in space. You know what I mean? We can do essentially the same story, and the Angels can still happen, part of her faction, whatever division may be called. Less of a big deal. She has fingers in every pie. She's got allies on every world. Alderton can still have her middling story in the middle of space, with Vinder and Yaz as the companions instead. Why are we on Earth for all of Flux? Most of our main participants don't live there, and it's not relevant to proceedings.
Yeah, no, that is a good point. I feel like I don't actually notice how earthbound it actually is, but
It's bizarre.
it is literally most. I mean, apart from Once Upon a Time, it is basically all set on Earth.
If Doctor Who's taught us anything, it's that you can just shoot in an old English town and call it space, and that's fine.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Even if you don't even need a big budget for all of these. Vinder is our main character. We learn everything about him. Maybe a slightly deeper character study. He's our working class everyman. As my friend Harrison said, we've got him to bring the space opera back to soap. But what's Yaz's perspective adding, he asks? I think she's vehemently pro-Doctor. And this can be our conflict this time. Vinder has seen something very, very suspect. This mysterious, crazy lady has just been conspiring with the person who seems to be causing all of this.
Yeah.
The Doctor knows more than she lets on. It's returning the character to, it's at least suggesting a bit more of a McCoy element to the character.
Mhm.
But this time it's not out of manipulation or trying to win or get ahead. It's just denial. She's denying these big law-changing things. She wants to keep on the capers and the adventuring.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's when you're talking about these like little meeting up with Tecteu, and it's very McCoy. And now I sort of realise the importance of At Childhood's End in series 12. It's a good little preamble to this.
A little warning that there is more, but the Doctor makes a conscious effort. She doesn't need to have an identity crisis. I think the Timeless Children has happened to her. She has her memories, number one, and she doesn't need to be freaking out about who does that make me? I think it's dead obvious, but she just doesn't want that for herself. So she ran away from Gallifrey. She also ran away from Tecteun. Some people are going to hate that.
Yeah.
But Tecteun operates outside of the universe, so what are you going to do? So I want Yaz to get warier of the Doctor slowly over the course of Flux, in kind of like Ace did in the expanded media. We've introduced Ace as a direct parallel.
Planting seeds of doubt.
And them and us learned the Flux solely exists to target the Doctor. I think we can still do a time skip, by the way. Just Yaz should spend it in space, not on Earth. The reason Vinder can be on Earth in the first place is just because he's looking for Bell. I'm keeping Bell. Do you maybe know where I'm going with this?
God, I know where you're going with this. Oh no. You're going to do the thing, aren't you? You're going to do the Bell and Vinder thing. Are you doing the mummy Bell, daddy Vinder?
I'm undecided. Are you asking, is Bell the Doctor's mother and Vinder the Doctor's father?
Yes, I am asking that, and I feel like I've heard you talk about this before.
I placed money on this before.
Do I like it?
I'm not doing it.
Good.
I'm going to heavily imply it.
Okay, so you are it.
I'm going to imply it quite strongly, though.
Okay.
I saw so much of the Doctor in Vinder and Bell.
Yeah.
And I know that's strange to say about two characters who didn't have much depth to them, but they had those mannerisms, and if the Doctor did come from a place, I would hope it's two vaguely human, working class good people. The apocalypse that was designed to kill the Doctor also ended up creating her.
Okay.
I've thought about this in too much detail.
No, I like what you mentioned about Bell and Vinder sort of having so much of the Doctor in them between the two of them. I like that. But I also like it's not them that gave that to the Doctor. It's the Doctor that gave that to the world to allow people like Bell and Vinder to exist. And we've done so much in Series 12 about the Doctor's impact on the world.
Sure. And it'll be a bootstrap thing no matter what way you look at it, because ultimately good people create good people. That's the point.
There's something in there.
I've lost everyone with that crazy theory.
I don't think you've lost me. You may have lost everyone watching.
Thank you, Josh.
I'm here.
That part is
I'm still
irrelevant to
here,
what I'm
don't
doing
worry.
with Flux. Basically, I want Vinder and the Doctor and Yaz to sort out the Doctor's abusive, mysterious mother once and for all.
I do like Vinder being the new companion. I love Dan. I'm a big fan of Dan because I do just like the old comedian comes along for the ride kind of thing that we've had quite recently.
Oh, maybe he'll show back up.
I do like the idea of Vinder getting a bit more of the limelight. And it's strange because he was sort of sold to us as a very major player in Flux, and then he just sort of became one of many.
I think whilst they were doing those press junkets, Chris didn't know what he had and didn't know what he was doing. Not to be mean, but remember when he was asked, give us one word about Doctor Who Flux? He just said swarm.
Yeah.
That was his word to describe Flux.
My feelings on Flux. I love it. It's chaotic, and I think it's been widely acknowledged by the people who made it that, it's chaotic. This isn't what we wanted to make, but this is the best that we could do. I mean, for me, it's the compression of it and overstuffing it a little bit. I feel like it was very, very, very ambitious to its own detriment.
And here's the mega change with my version of Flux. I think you gotta make it a drama. That's gonna ground a Flux by force. What's the strongest part of the Flux finale? I think it's the quiet scenes that show potential and threaten to make the story about something. It's also much more appropriate for a production being made in pandemic circumstances. My instinct wouldn't be a globe-trotting CGI adventure. No, we can have a whole episode of this 5-parter be tight conversations in rooms. Because at this point in the story, we need to know how our characters actually feel about the mega revelations happening around them. We still don't know if Earth is okay. And since we are really zoning into the relationship between the Doctor and Tecteun, we really should use this newly allocated runtime to just let them speak to one another. But this time the audience is privy to it.
Survivors of the Flux is, I think, where a lot of the issues stem from, for me. That feels like 4 stories in one.
When really you could get an entire season just out of the Doctor outside of the universe with Tecteun.
You could, yeah. I find it so hard to try and cut stuff from Flux. That's why my note is to make it longer, because I struggle cutting stuff because I like it all. I like all the individual elements. Like, I love the Grand Serpent stuff.
Oh, Grand Serpent's still in. There's no link to unit. It's all spacey waysy.
Good. Okay, that's good. It's all good stuff, but it's just all crammed into 6 episodes, so none of it gets the time that it deserves.
I think, I'm someone who was publicly despairing on this platform as Flux was airing. I went into it so hopeful, and I loved the first 2 or 3. You can see my decline whilst I'm reviewing them week to week.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, you could give Flux 20 episodes and it wouldn't change anything, because Chris Chibnall would just invent more and more tangents and loose details and bizarre time wasters.
That's the thing that I think you've sold me on, because I think in my head, my idea is to make it longer, but you will just keep tying yourself in knots, really. And it needs to be streamlined, but I just don't know what I want to get rid of.
And if you streamline Flux, it sort of loses its point as well. The Halloween Apocalypse is a big showcase of, like, look what the fuck we're doing, and I wouldn't want to take that away from it. But I think we kind of have to.
I don't have the answers to fix Flux.
No one does. I mean, I'm offering in its place a simpler story.
This is the thing. I'm overcomplicating things again, and this is the problem.
Perhaps, but I think Chris Chibnall did.
It's so convoluted that you can't.
You've got to let go. Josh, you've got to let go and go with my crack theory instead.
Okay.
But this video doesn't work.
Okay. Right, we'll do it. So what stories remain sort of as they are?
Apocalypse.
The Halloween Apocalypse?
Yeah.
Is that it?
I'm focused on basically survivors of the Flux, the Tecteun stuff, and making that the core of the story. So everything else is going to spread out from there. Let's keep Village of the Angels. Let's keep a version of Once Upon a Time, and let's keep the Halloween Apocalypse. But I think the rest of the runtime she was spent on kind of giving us the timeless child information in a natural way, and it also has to be a character piece for Vinda, so we need an actual solution to finding Belle. To me, it's just the thrill of doing a normal Doctor Who adventure, picking up the new companion, Vinda, and then it's inverted. The series opener is inverted, and the Doctor is already in the final episode and already talking to the big bad and already knows more than she should. And I think that puts her in a very interesting place. That is familiar, yes, but it's good to do with not only this Doctor, but it's good to do on TV.
Well, it's definitely interesting.
The Doctor isn't doing anything wrong in this version. She's just sat on this secret that she doesn't want to face for too long, evidently. Flux is 5 parts. I'm going to use the skeleton of the original Halloween Apocalypse. And episode 1 of Bedlam, Sontarans, Daleks, Cybermen are starting to stir. With Vinda's warning, the Doctor and gang managed to shield Earth from the first wave of the Flux. Episode 2, we're in the Temple of Apropos, or whatever. These guys are the keepers of law. When the Time Lords died, something had to be put in place to make sure that history doesn't constantly contradict itself. These guys are not fans of the Doctor. We don't have Swarm, we don't have Azur, we don't have the Fugitive Doctor, and we don't have just Yaz roaming around. No, everyone's here. We'll make a whole episode of this place, and this is the episode where we learn what the Timeless Child is. A bit of an info dump. Basically, this is Once Upon Time, but a little bit more coherent. We get more backstory on Vinda, and thereby Belle through his memories and flashbacks. We get the final piece of the puzzle of Yaz's origins, why she ran away all those years ago. We've got Vinda and his altercation with the Grand Serpent, and the Doctor being an orphan taken in by Gallifrey. We don't need the whole PowerPoint presentation. We just need images and glimpses that suggest the story. Also, importantly, the Doctor refuses this. The Doctor knows that there's some truth in it. They were talking to Tecteun just last episode, according to Vinda. But the Doctor knows it wasn't that simple. Why are they having this origin of all of their origins being pushed on them now? The Keepers of Apropos want the Doctor to have a set-in-stone origin story, and here it is. And it might have a semblance of truth to it. Do we as a viewer trust the Doctor that this isn't her origin story? Or is she just as 13 always is, in denial? Who is the villain of this piece? Well, Tecteun wasn't lying when she said she had division members in every single society and culture, even one of the Grand Keepers. The gang escape the law dump that wants to seal their fate. Part 3. Lots of questions being asked in Team TARDIS. Not really anybody trusting one another. What matters is that they're being hunted down by Division Weeping Angels. This is a good spot for Belle stuff. Put her in direct contact with the Grand Serpent. That could be her subplot. Is the Division stuff true? Well, by episode's end, what does Yaz see but the Doctor being taken away by angels that are recalling her to Division? Sort of cementing the idea that all of this is true. Yaz and Vinda are left stranded alone in space, with the Flux on its way. Pretty recognisable so far, I think you'll agree.
Yeah.
Episode 4 is a bottle episode. At the end of the universe, we've got 2 conversations. 13 and Tecteun, and Yaz and Vinda. At the end of the episode, Tecteun offers the Doctor a micro-universe. She's rebooting everything. She's been studying the universe, using worlds as petri dishes, experiments to find out the true parameters, the true limits of fixed points. And for the Doctor to remain a viable part of the experiments, Tecteun needs to reset. She's collected a small number of worlds and planets that the Doctor can zip around time and space with till the end of time, at the expense of 90% of the known universe. Tecteun wants to broker a deal with the Doctor, and this is her consolation prize. A tiny little simulacra, a miniature version of what she did before. And look, Earth is in her cabinet. I've assembled your favourites: Peladon, Oodsphere, Barcelona, Earth. I can even throw in Skaro and Mondas if that spices things up for you, Doctor. And I think the cliffhanger of all cliffhangers will be when the Doctor accepts this insane bargain. This insane devil's deal. The Flux will destroy everything except for the select few worlds where she can keep flying around playing Doctor Who forever. Episode 5 finale. This episode has to reject all of the lore that has come before. I want to end it in a place like Gallifrey Noir, where the Doctor has to accept that, being a complex time and space event, she's not any one thing. She has multiple different origins, and maybe we can even veer into a couple of them for fan service. But they are all just as true as one another. There's truth to all of them, but all stories are true. A post-canon message at the end of Flux. Half our characters are at the Temple of Apropos, but half of them fending off the apocalypse. Bel and Vinda finally reunite. The Grand Serpent is dealt with as one of the final members of Division. And I think I would even keep Tecteun alive. And that's Flux, with the Doctor going forward, never quite saying out loud that Bel and Vinda could very well be her parents, as they decide they are not fit to raise a child in the apocalypse, and send it off into a portal for the potential of a better life. That fully could have been the Doctor's true origin story. The Doctor knows that she's richer than that. We have the emotional takeaway of the Timeless Children, which is, I am so much more, without it being a weird DNA genetics thing. And we can move Doctor Who into a series that doesn't have to really worry about this shit anymore, of broken canon and hating origin stories. Yeah, the Doctor's above them. Now, Tecteun, as main villain, I think she was go with me here, I think she was an inappropriate guardian. Yeah, she experimented and tortured this child who may or may not have been the Doctor. But as they got older, I think there was also another inappropriate element to it. Though it sounds rancid, I think we need Tecteun's closeness to the Doctor to suggest something that's not just maternal. The Timeless Child is and always has been an abusive grooming story. And though the dialogue doesn't need to actually go there, I think Salem Baxter and Jodie Whittaker can play it in a way that tells us everything. I think their performance needs to suggest a sickening romance at some point or another. There are real-world reasons the Doctor does not want to talk about Tecteun.
Yeah.
And some of them are personal and relatable, and some of them are sci-fi myth-making. If you're putting dots together and exploring Thasmin front and centre, by the way, which we are in this series, it's a quiet reason why 13 can't let herself be with Yaz. Yaz is so much like her. The companion-mentor relationship to the Doctor, it's too reminiscent. The Doctor does not want to be the groomer, the abuser. The Doctor cannot be like Tecteun.
They're your experiments, just as you and mine. We are not the same.
And that's just it. The Doctor isn't emotionally challenged. That's the denial. That's the act. We're looking at all the capers we've done over the past 2 series, and now we see why she lives her life like that.
I wasn't expecting to like it when you told me, let's get rid of everything except Tecteun. That's so funny. But you really do have the gift of the gab sometimes. You can really swing me around on very wild ideas. And I don't like the control you have over me in that way.
I promise you're the only one.
I feel like you could radicalise me very quickly.
Whoa, let's go.
You really could. I don't know why. There's just something about your nonsense that really wins me over.
If I believe something, I think it's it's admirable how much I believe it.
It really is. It really is. And it's very evident in these videos. I think there's definitely something in there.
Someone did point out when I posted this originally, it's kind of redacted. Young woman gets glimpses of the Doctor, who says she can help save the universe, only to be told that it's entirely the Doctor's fault it's happening. Now, okay, the Doctor isn't actually doing anything wrong, and it's not actually her fault it's happening, but from a character motive, I mean, maybe I'm retroactively looking back from the giggle, but real focus has been put on the Doctor's reaction to all of this happening. Yeah, it's Flux streamlined. But the main thing with Flux is if you don't have any answers to give, then you may as well keep the viewer dramatically in the dark. You may as well make that admission of information part of the story. The Doctor doesn't even have to know about the Timeless Children stuff. I just think it's interesting that she knows who Tecteun is. I think that's an exciting note to start on.
It is. That is a very. I've never thought about that as a possibility, and it's interesting. We've both approached this very different ways. You've gone make it shorter. I've gone make it longer. My pitch would basically just be, let's make it a normal 10. It's basically what they wanted to do. I just want to see what their idea was before it became Flux. I'm very intrigued by that, and I would love that to come out at some point, maybe in the form of like some weird big like 10 book target novelization series.
Yes, I was about to say that will be mega.
That would be very cool, because I want to see, from what we've got, it's obvious that War of the Sontarans and Village of the Angels were going to be standalone stories, and were obviously very good as standalone stories.
Absorbed.
Forced into Flux and absorbed into Flux. I love them as they are, but I really want to see the standalone versions. So I like the idea of a 10-episode series where Flux is the inciting incident, and then maybe we have detours in the same way we have in other series of Doctor Who, where there's a series arc, and maybe you have like just an Eve of the Daleks in there, just a random little detour. Maybe you have a Village of the Angels in there,
a Feast of Stephen.
Yeah, but then you are still getting back to the main core point. I think there's an 8 to 10 episode version of that exists, with a little Fugitive Doctor one-off. Let's give her the spotlight. But for now, I'm happy with what we got, and I'm also happy with the new version you've created.
We both admire the bones of Flux, and we were both I was definitely excited by the start of it.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like I want to remix it so bad. Okay. So we're leaving off with, honestly, Tecteun will get away. I want to introduce a new recurring big bad to the Doctor Who mythos. We haven't had one in ages. And,
that I agree with.
She's got a pretty good starting block to be a new nemesis.
I think the death of Tecteun is it's just a misstep.
It's crazy. Once that happens, I don't know what Flux is about. I don't know what the point of it is. Yaz has gone on a journey where she's learned to distrust the Doctor, but I think she lands on a place, ultimately, of Yaz is too dependent on the Doctor. We said that in the last video. Without her, she's got nothing to go back home to. No friends, or really much of anything, other than her Nana, who's still around. She's still kicking. We haven't really seen her much.
Yeah, no, we pitched in the first part of this. I wanted her as a recurring character. Yeah, she can pop up every now and then. We can put her in Revolution of the Daleks. Okay. We can put her in Can You Hear Me?
She's still going.
We can pop her in a few places.
She is the first victim of the Dalek throne.
No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to kill Nanny.
No, neither do I. We've already killed one Nan. We don't need to do another. Yaz is going to end up in the position of having to tell the Doctor, look, you ran away from home. I get that. You can decide who you want to be. So if you do want to keep running away from this awful origin story that we still don't know that much about, we can keep doing that. It's fine. You don't have to talk about it. You don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a more important message to tell, considering Chibnall's interested in adoption as a main theme in his Doctor Who.
There's potential there, isn't there?
It's a different moral to say like, yeah, fuck it, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't. You can ditch your family. It's one of those sort of like millennial morals that more fiction needs to tell. Okay, right, which leads on back to the fun stuff.
Yeah, now we're in the home straight now.
It turns out when big law events happen to you, you can shrug them off and keep going, baby.
I love a little caper.
It's a priority. It's a priority for this version of Doctor Show.
And I think
because it's the type of Doctor Jodie should be for me.
Yeah, we've dipped our toe into big law,
Rejected it,
and I'm happy to dip it back out again, to just rip it straight back out. Is your vision for post-Flux Doctor Who? Are we now the Doctor and Yaz? Is Vinda gone?
Vinda's gone. Yeah, Vinda's not following us. And this takes us on to the final run. The final specials is a kind of non-conventional series of 5. For Jodie and Mandip's final run in the role, they're going to be doing very low stakes historical figure / celebrity adventures.
A little fun run of these, like as little specials, just every couple of months. Do one on New Year's Day, one on Easter.
Blackest Friday on Black Friday.
Like they did. Stop getting your own.
Oh, I'm kidding.
I couldn't get my hands on all of these, unfortunately, so you're going to have to take the lead on some. But there is some good stuff in here. I like it.
They're all very self-explanatory, luckily. What I liked about Power of the Doctor was that it ended so carefree. It ended in a different way for the revival. It wasn't all doom and gloom. She went to her death smiling, doing what she likes doing best. So I thought, just let them have a kind of honeymoon. Let them it's a different way to finish off a Doctor. Just a series of fun, goofy specials. And her death isn't even going to be that dramatic or that big. I think it'd be cool to go back to the classic series approach of doing it, of like, oh, yeah, this week got her.
Yeah. I mean, I am intrigued by that. Your choice, I'm not sure. But we'll come to that. We'll come to that at the end.
Okay.
And we will discuss that.
I'll run you through the celebrities we're going to meet for the final year. Elvis Presley.
Yeah, I'm in. Played by Austin Butler or Jacob Elordi. Who can we afford?
Neither.
We can't put Austin Butler through that again.
We could probably get Jacob Elordi at the time. At the time, Jacob Elordi was a good get. Yeah.
Or we just get someone who's just been cutting about on like ITV dramas and just make them do an American accent.
Yeah, sounds about right, doesn't it?
Put on an Elvis costume.
Sounds about right.
That's a lot more Chibnall, and I like it.
We've also got Mary C. Cole.
Yeah, War of the Sontaran survived.
It's back.
Yes,
remodeled.
It's the only reason why people were probably wondering why we didn't talk about it in Flux, because I knew that it was going to pop up later.
People were probably really pissed about the Flux remix because I cut it out, but we're getting a purer, better version of it here without any of the maintenance.
I'm happy about it being a big fun special. That's fine.
Bruce Lee.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Houdini.
Houdini indeed. Houdini.
A hot, steamy summer. My word.
Yaz is not going to like that.
And Nikola Tesla as the final episode of Jodie's run of Doctor Who. All right, let's get going. The Doctor and the Fam meet Elvis Presley in the book Star Tales. That's where a lot of these come from. And Star Tales really impressed me and it really surprised me. It won me over with That's All Right Mama, which is my favourite. Second favourite? It's up there. It's probably, for the third time I say this in the series now, probably the best Whittaker story.
Yeah, you have said this a lot.
I'll be talking about it more in the future. I'm an indecisive man. When the Whittaker era hits, it really, really hits. This is a heartbreaking story about, honestly, the thing that no Elvis biopic ever really cuts to the heart of, and that's that Elvis had a massive mummy complex.
Mm.
This focuses on, honestly, him grieving with the final days that his mother was alive, which went on to affect him for the rest of his life. Elvis and his mother, growing up, encountered 4 different doctors. So, if you want to do the cameo time, here you go. It culminates in the gang meeting Elvis, taking him to a stadium, and just sort of consoling him. Just making sure he lands on his feet. It's got more DNA shared with Vincent and the Doctor than anything else.
I like the sound of this. I mean, this is the one story that I could not get my hands on. So I have not consumed this media.
And Houdini. The Houdini one is also in Star Tales.
Oh yeah, the Houdini one as well. Elvis is just prime pickings for just a one-off. It's not what I thought you were going to say. I thought it was going to be very
Big Fun Vegas.
exactly. That's what I thought. Or were you going to do early days Elvis?
This will play to Chibnall's era's strengths and just be a drama.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
I can't remember what the sci-fi element in it is. I don't think there are any beyond the Doctor and Co. I'll have to reread.
That's fine. I mean, I'm happy to make it a pure historical because let's just have more of those.
I couldn't ignore it, so make it feature length for it on TV.
Well, it's in. Why not? I can't argue because I haven't read it.
And you know what? Bring Graham along.
Well, this was going to be my thought because obviously there's a couple of these where you've got Ryan and Graham. Do we bring them back for a bit?
I think whatever we do, these final 5 specials have a revolving cast. We're not playing around with time. They just pick up people that they've met. Off screen, they went and got that young girl from Can You Hear Me? Or some shit. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
that part truly doesn't matter,
that.
but I'm open to the roster changing a little bit. It's the sunset of her life, so we're starting to abridge. Okay. It also implies that these fun travels take up most of the 13th Doctor's life. I would like to imply that Yaz has aged quite a bit by the end of them.
That's intriguing. I like that.
It's not going anywhere in particular. I just think it gives more... It makes the exit less awkward.
Yeah, less awkward. And it's nice. I like them having a long time together. I like that. It's nice.
You're going to argue for Power of the Doctor later, but the one big thing I love about Power of the Doctor is actually Yaz's exit. I think it's subtly set up for a change throughout the episode. And we don't have that anymore because the Doctor isn't keeping Yaz out in this version. She did briefly, and it backfired for her, and Yaz still had her back. So what splits them apart in this version? Just, it's time. You know, I've been on the TARDIS 20 years. Why not?
You're now giving me arguments for Power of the Doctor. And are we securing that Thasmin just happens? Or it's just a different type of relationship?
Here's the thing with Doctor Who is that it's the most romantic show in the world with a lead who can never just say, I love you. The Doctor has to keep finding new ways to express it and say it. And they're often more romantic and profound than just saying, I love you. One day I want to break that rule. So I'm not going to decide one way or the other.
I like it.
I like things being different in Doctor Who. So maybe yes. Maybe just yes, and it didn't even have to be a big conversation. Because we're in a post-River Song world.
Agreed. I can go with that.
So who cares? And people call me a hater.
Are we then doing Houdini? Or are we doing War of the Sontarans next?
That's all right, Mama. War of the Sontarans. Oh, we didn't talk about War of the Sontarans. Let's talk about War of the Sontarans.
Yeah. It's my favourite Sontaran story on TV.
Yeah, sure. Time Warrior for me, but I appreciate it. Jodie Whittaker's fantastic in it.
She's really good. And also, Chibnall humour. I'm quite a defender of Chibnall's humour. He loves a little dad joke in Doctor Who. And I'd love his humour applied to the Sontarans. Because the Sontarans should always be funny. They're obviously scary, they're obviously threatening, and they're obviously big war people.
Sontarans are an easy one to get right.
They are, yeah.
It's just the Doctor Who has history of not doing it, so of course Chibnall takes to them. Keep John Bishop, keep Jamie Magnus Stone.
Yeah.
Keep practically everything. Our celebrity of the week is obviously Seacole, which is just inspired. My partner's mother and my friends were suddenly interested in Doctor Who that week.
Yeah.
Because of Mary Seacole. And I'm like, right, okay, interesting.
Nice. You've basically just got to trim all of the Swarm and Azure stuff.
And find Yaz something else to do, which is very soft. It's very easy. Just send her off with Dan. obviously, who is Dan in this version. He's the week's guest star. We need the everyman. There's no harm in that, yeah. We still get John Bishop in the show. And it's not as if the show is particularly interested in him after War of the Sontarans anyway.
Yeah. Maybe it's just Dan, but he's just a British soldier from that time. He's basically the same character.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Yeah.
He's just a goofy guy. But he's just a soldier from that time. That could be fun.
Or if you wanted to keep him intact and have him from our time, there's a very easy way to do it. Is at the beginning of the story, Yaz stays behind for some reason, and then history changes. The Sontarans do change history. So.
Oh, yeah, because you've got I always forget you've got all of the modern day stuff.
Yeah, Yaz and Dan are in a different timeline. Yaz and Dan are in a different timeline, so that splits them very naturally.
They're in Liverpool, still doing all the Liverpool stuff.
Yeah, it works.
Dan still gets his frying pan. Yeah, we'll do that. I like that. That's better. That's much better.
Okay. On to the next. The White Dragon. This one, starring Graham and Ryan.
So they're back for this one.
The whole gang's back
I like
together.
that because I really liked it. It's a bit, as a comic story, it feels a little bit rushed, but if you fleshed it out, it'd be a good TV story.
It's so light. It is so light. It's a good one. There's a comic, I should say, where the Doctor meets Charlie Chaplin, basically, and they go on a Charlie Chaplin adventure. It's what Doctor Who always does, but when you have someone like another star, like a martial arts star in this instance, you can play with the format. Yeah. You can do a Doctor Who martial arts movie. That sounds fucking awesome.
So fun. This is a great little Easter story. It's an Easter weekend.
In The White Dragon, the Doctor takes Ryan to see his favourite actor. He's a massive martial arts nerd, and he loves the films of Bruce Lee. So they're in Hollywood, practically, from memory, and they get in trouble with the local mob. It's a Bruce Lee movie first, where the Doctor and Co come along.
Yeah, it's a Bruce Lee movie, but Bruce Lee is himself in the story.
The gang are all useless pacifists.
Exactly. It's really cool. And Ryan has some of his best stuff, so it'd be fun to bring Ryan back for a story. Maybe it's Ryan's birthday.
Yes, that's lovely.
We'll go and pick Ryan up for his birthday, and we'll take him to go see Bruce Lee.
He's 21.
And maybe Ryan's struggling a bit. Maybe Ryan's gone off and he's done all of this activist stuff. They've had a few losses. They've been beaten down a bit. He feels like he's not getting anywhere. And he just needs a little light reminder of, why he's doing it and what he's doing. And there's a lovely bit at the end with Bruce Lee. I think I wrote it down, where sort of like the ending message is Bruce Lee sort of saying to Ryan, don't waste time. Time is what life is made of. It's really cute. I like the idea of a companion having some doubts and then having one more adventure and realising, no, I was right. I should have left.
It's a nice little epilogue for the fan.
Yeah, Ryan has
in a low
very good
stakes
stuff
adventure. That would be mostly production design, globetrotting, which is awesome. This one's just for fun. I mean, all the others have been for fun as well, but this one's just for fun. Also, remember they aged Yaz up?
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see a nearing middle-age Yaz and a 21-year-old Ryan.
Yeah, that's very interesting. She's not seen Ryan for like 15 years at this point.
It's all got to seem so cute in context.
Yeah, but for Ryan, it's been a couple of years, and to him, it feels like, oh, they've not come to see me for ages.
This is that interpersonal character drama stuff that the writer of Broadchurch should excel at. He did Power of Three.
Yeah, Chibnall would do good stuff there.
Why not make every opportunity possible to do this, to have these moments where the adventure can take a backseat? The adventure's a lot of fun, but how you doing, man?
Yeah.
That stuff's good. That stuff's really good, and I don't begrudge Chibnall for forcing those moments.
Yeah.
It's just you could make a story where you don't have to force them.
Yeah, no, it's like he wanted the it's like if that's your strengths, then capers are his strengths really, rather than the lore heavy stuff.
Or the satire.
It does all get a little bit bogged down in the lore sometimes.
Then let's go to Houdini. It's called
Houdini. I didn't get this one either. So
WHO-Dini. It's very, very campy.
That is so camp. I like that. Let's call it.
I don't like this short story. I think it's just run of the mill.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's a good Fifth Doctor one, which I think I mentioned, which is
Smoke and Mirrors.
Smoke and Mirrors. That's what it's called. That's in Destiny of the Doctors, or Destiny of the Doctor, whatever it's called. That's fun. Houdini's a bit bad in that. Maybe you could keep Graham around for an episode. Maybe Ryan gets dropped off. Maybe Graham sticks around, and we have Graham, Yaz, and the Doctor.
Perhaps, yeah. Just keep it changing, keep it rolling.
Keep it fresh. Keep it fresh and moving.
I would say for this one, Yaz, the Doctor, and either a completely new person to imply that a lot of time has passed, or or fuck it, why not? Just someone from a previous adventure.
Yeah.
Vinder's back. It's Vinder and Belle's previously unborn child.
Maybe, I mean, if the 13th Doctor's era got a spin-off, like having a spin-off that is just the new Vanquishers. We have a little family dynamic. We've got Belle and Vinder's baby who's got guns now. And Carvanista's the family dog, but he's a giant bloke. Bring them back.
What are they doing with Houdini, though?
I don't know. That's for somebody else to write, Sam.
This is your list now. We're entering your list.
It's not my list.
We've been recording for an awful long time, haven't we, Josh?
Yeah, we have. I've lost all cohesion. Just make a Houdini story if you want.
Yeah, combine the good elements of ones that previously existed.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the wiki for Harry Houdini, and there's a whole broke canon just sitting here. It is stupid the amount of full-on adventures they've had.
Doctor Who and the Long Hot Summer.
Oh, you know they would never ever dream of doing that with Whittaker.
No, they shouldn't. I'm glad.
And finally, last of all, because we're not doing Power of the Doctor.
Stop it! No,
we're not.
Well, I'm going to fight you.
We're not.
We'll have a fight.
Josh, we're not.
No.
I love Power of the Doctor. Go watch Ivy and mine's video on it if you like, and you can see all my praise there and then. I don't think this version can take it. I think it's much nicer to end on something small and sweet, like a random adventure with Nikola Tesla and his wacky night of fun.
Okay. Well, I like it. I like Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. I just think it would be a really good penultimate story. I think it's got very good vibes as a penultimate story, and I'm with you there. And it's got like the messages of the comparison between Tesla and the Doctor is very fun. I don't know. Maybe this is just my New Who, because I'm a New Who fan at heart, and I do like a bit of pomp to a regeneration. So maybe my brain just won't allow me to get on board with a low-key Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. Also, a regeneration story being called Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. It's really funny.
Let's rename it.
No. Let's keep it, because Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror is one of my favourite episode titles that Doctor Who has ever done, because I remember reading it and I went, is that fake? And everyone went, no. And I went, well, I'm so glad, because that is the most Doctor Who title I've ever seen. How's the Doctor regenerating then? Give me a pitch. Give me how it's going to work.
I don't have a specific image. I think...
just die.
I didn't have this thought through. I think she's doing something on a tower. She probably gets electrocuted. There you go.
See, it's Logopolis. She gets Logopolis.
She gets electrocuted in a really bold, selfless moments, and she helps invent electricity.
And how's Yaz getting home? Or is she just sticking around with Nikola Tesla?
That's a great point. Well, it's not my concern what the next guy does. We've learned this from Chibnall.
Sam.
Okay.
Sam, after what is possibly 6 hours of video here, have you thought this through?
Yes, I've thought this through.
I don't think you have.
I have.
You just wanted a low key one.
The new Doctor's going to take Yaz home.
And you've got addicted. You've got addicted to this idea that there has to be a celebrity in it as well, which is also very cute.
Because it's a very unconventional regeneration.
So you've picked Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror.
Yes, because it's so unremarkable.
Okay.
And not just because of that, I'm underselling it. I think there's really nice lines in there, such as "The world is mine, tomorrow belongs to me," is lovely. They would make very good regeneration final words to be repeated back to him. I think if we can get real with it here, the Doctor has been a celebrity in her own right in this era.
Mm-hmm.
She's been in the news constantly and mythological, even to the detriment of the Flux. Something that'd be really cool to introduce in Nikola Tesla is that he was this fantastic inventor, this really like bold human, and he also had really awful tendencies and opinions. There's a real grossness to him as well that can come out, and I think the Doctor just needs to see that great historical men cannot be perfect. They will not be perfect, and they. Oh, I'm running out of steam. And that all famous historical people in history, they have their own demons, and everyone is just a person. Everyone is just their own person.
Okay.
Good and bad. Which goes with the series 12 finale, I think.
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe Oppenheimer would be good for this final episode.
Oh my god. I've not
Why
yet
not?
seen Oppenheimer, so in my eyes, I have no idea what Oppenheimer is about. I think he's just a fun guy who lives in an Oppenheimer world, and then he goes into the real world and teaches everybody about feminism. I think that's what it's about.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
He's the guy who made Godzilla, if that helps.
Thanks. Got it. Got it. Cheers. Look, I'm not going to say you've sold me on the idea.
I'm not trying to. I'm trying to.
I know you're not. You just want to go to bed now. That's fine. I mean, my strong feeling is I like it. I think it could very much work as a penultimate. I still want to keep Power of the Doctor after it. I also like the idea of. I think Tesla and Edison is a very fun little parallel to the Doctor and the Master before Power of the Doctor.
I was thinking you were going to say the Doctor and Tecteun.
Oh, that is true.
It's much better.
Or what if we do Power of the Doctor, but instead of the Master, it's Tecteun?
That's bizarre.
Yeah, I don't think it works.
No, I think it does. I think it works, but it is bizarre. Well, it's about regeneration, and this era hasn't had the Master. And what's Tecteun's origin always? What's her motivation always been?
Is the regeneration?
Give me the fucking regenerations.
Yeah. So now we need, and also, can I just one little final selling point to keep Power of the Doctor in?
Okay.
Still historical because Rasputin's in there. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you're going to have Tecteun disguised as Rasputin. So I've sold you on it. Thanks.
It's in. It's in.
Yes.
Doctor Who's over. And in this world, in this hypothetical, the show did get cancelled.
Oh. I was literally about to go up next on the BBC, The Star Beast.
No.
It's gone.
No, it hit hard times.
Okay.
That's a bummer,
so
huh?
Who's Jodie Whittaker regenerating into? No one? Or Joe Martin?
Yeah.
Joe Martin,
cut to black. No context.
Elvis Presley.
Sure.
Tegan. Oh, that was another point with the Power of the Doctor.
She regenerates into Tegan?
A more streamlined version. No, you can make a more streamlined version of Power of the Doctor because you don't have to do the intro back to Ace and Tegan. You can just have them there.
Yeah, there is that. I'm not against this, but I think if we did go with Power of the Doctor, I was going to end it on that note just because it was funny. If we did go with Power of the Doctor, we've got to change 13 and Yaz's dynamic, right? I love it, but I do like what we've made here.
Yeah, we've created
the polar opposites.
A lovely monster.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we can do that. It's fine.
Okay, sure. It ends with Tecteun as Rasputin. Taking the Doctor's regenerations.
This is where we've got to after 6 hours.
And only Yaz, Tegan, Ace... Carvanista.
Can Carvanista be at the companion meeting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even though we've not
Yes,
seen
yeah.
him.
And the doctor's as yet unborn child can stop them save day.
You're not even saying words now.
And the kid is the doctor. And that's how it ends.
Okay.
See you guys later.
Bye.
It had such promise. 3 years we wanted to do
We
this. 3
started
years.
so well. But I think we've realised that if you rewrite 2 series of Doctor Who, then your last series will not make any sense. That was my job.
Even if you're doing an autopsy and you're taking out the skeleton, things are gonna go back a bit fucky.
Yeah. Are we better writers than Chris Chibnall? No.
Yes.
No.
Sorry, yes. No. Right, yeah, no.
Have we improved the Jodie Whittaker era? We didn't aim to.
Yes, that's true.
But no, we haven't either.
We aimed to end Doctor Who.
This was fun.